Welcome to Vlogmas Day. Welcome to another day of Vlogmas. Alright, so this is my third hat that I put on. I know I already spent a whole day of Vlogmas wearing this hat, obviously, when we went to the Chiefs game. My hair is so dirty. And I am not showing you what it looks like underneath this thing. Probably won't be able to tell it in the camera, but my makeup in person looks like I applied it with sandpaper. Yesterday we flew home from Kansas City. I usually don't take Dramamine before I get on a plane, especially if I'm gonna be able to get a window seat, but I was so sick to my stomach. I was so nauseous yesterday. I didn't want to take a chance, so I took one Dramamine pill, and it was from the less drowsy bottle. There wasn't much of a difference between me this morning and death. I know what a lot of y'all are thinking. A lot of y'all are thinking,
oh, you didn't feel very good yesterday because I bet you were drinking all day on Sunday in preparation for the game.
actually no, it's quite opposite. I wasn't drinking at all. And I actually mean water, because I think for the entire day, I maybe had like 3/4 of a bottle of water, because I didn't want to miss a single second of that game or any of like the experience beforehand of like getting to see both teams warming up on the field. So I specifically didn't drink water because I was like, I don't want to have to pee. And yeah, so the next morning, because I had like hardly any water the day before, just because I literally didn't want to pee, I felt so sick from being dehydrated. So that was really, really fun. But you know what? Worth it. I'll be honest, I don't know how long this Vlogmas is gonna be. I don't know how entertaining it's gonna be. And I don't know how much art is gonna be included. But I will do my best. Love ya. Oh wait, this isn't the end. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Jacob's sending me the file right now, but I don't know how that voiceover just went, because number one, I think I was nervous. Why? Nobody's like listening to me. I was nervous, so I kept like not breathing. I feel like my mind is just so foggy. I couldn't think about what I was saying, and we're gonna see this paint and chat with me could be interesting. Or it could be really boring. Oh, and in case you didn't know, the reason that Jacob has a booth is because he is a voice actor, so. Hello. So, are you gonna be out there, Jacob? Alright, I am about to get started on finalizing this drawing. Now, I think what I'm gonna actually do, I went ahead and I duplicated this multiple times because I'm gonna do each of them individually. I'm gonna do Mahomes individually, I'm gonna do Herbert individually. And then I'm gonna put them together like this, so that then I can have an individual of each one of the guys and then put them together for another picture. And this is my rough sketch, so I'm gonna get this bigger. So it's got that on, and then this. Like that. Okay. Put it in the center. So pretty much every single brush that I use, especially for my sketching, I have downloaded from an artist, or I've purchased from an artist. She creates brushes. Her name is Alicia Nye. When it comes to brushes on Procreate, I really don't know what I'm doing when I'm like trying to edit one or anything. So I really like, her brushes are the main ones that I use. So I would totally suggest you go check those out. Because honestly, especially once I got her blending brush, which I've gotten a lot of people asking me like, how do you blend like that? Her blending brush changed everything for my art. I don't know if you can tell, but one of the things that I really, really like to do with my portraits is make certain lines thicker than others and really kind of play with the thickness and the opacity of my line work. I think that really, really adds a lot of dimension whenever there's like character to the line work. So especially these outside lines, I like to keep those a lot thicker than the line work on the inside of the face. Now areas like this and around the eye, those tend to be kind of more like detailed and kind of almost like thinner skinned areas or more delicate bones in that area. So like the forehead and the chin and the jawline, those are usually the thicker bones, the stronger bones, and especially if I am drawing a guy, I like to really accentuate much sharper areas along like the jawline, or thicker lining along the jawline and stuff, to really accentuate the features of, you know, like of his face. Yeah, I'll definitely go thicker in the jaw area, in the forehead where the bones and bone structure are a lot like thicker, harder. And then also, so like areas like this. So there's a line going here, and then there's another line that's touching and meeting. So I'll make this area where the two lines meet, I'll make it thicker. I don't know why. It's just when I like accidentally did that one day, it just kind of made everything come together really nicely. So now that's what I do. So anytime that two lines are meeting up, like here or even here, you know, I just kind of thicken that little meeting area. Now what's funny is I really thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to be a lot harder for me to draw than Justin Herbert, because I feel like Patrick Mahomes has kind of more soft and round kind of features, especially like the nose area. It's more rounded and kind of soft. So I thought, oh, it's going to be really hard to capture his likeness. But Mahomes came together really quickly, whereas Herbert, who has much sharper and kind of distinct features, especially like his the bone structure around his eyes and even his nose, they're just really distinct. I had the hardest time drawing Justin Herbert. He took me forever to finish drawing, and I still feel like it doesn't quite look like him. Whereas Mahomes, I do think, at least right now, I've kind of captured his likeness. We shall see once I actually start coloring. What's crazy is that sometimes, you know, the sketch will look like the person, but as soon as I start drawing and adding in details, it doesn't look like them anymore. Like Gerard Way, that my first initial sketch, I really felt like it looked so much like him. And then once I started coloring, it was like, oh, this doesn't look like Gerard at all. And I had to kind of restructure things a bit. And don't forget, guys have lashes too, so I just draw them in real short. Does anybody else ever feel like their really rough sketch ends up looking way better than their final piece? I feel like that has been me almost every single art piece that I have made. I just prefer the rough sketch for some reason. I don't know what it is. And then as soon as I start cleaning it up in the final sketch and adding like color and stuff, it's like, oh, I don't like this as much. All right, that might be a little weird. And I always say this with pretty much every drawing that I start on. I always say, what did the corner of his eyes do? They come up. Okay. I always say at the start of all of my drawings that I'm gonna make this a more simplified art style. And then I start going, and before I know it, it's not simple at all. So we'll see. He has really sharp tear ducts. So I'm gonna make sure put that in. Something that I really want to do really soon is actually go from start to finish of from starting the rough sketch to getting the final sketch. I would love to record the whole thing and actually like explain exactly what I'm doing so that y'all can kind of see where my mind is at when I make certain decisions or certain, you know, whenever I do certain techniques, and so y'all can see how I draw my portraits. But obviously I haven't started that yet, but I figured I could kind of do it for this just because, I don't know, it just kind of felt like it. Okay, I feel like his nose, his eyebrows are kind of like messy almost. They're not like really distinct or defined, so we'll probably go back in and rework the eyebrows. So if you've seen my over on Instagram, which is at luru.studios, if you have seen my Morticia Adams and what is her name? Debbie something. But Morticia and Debbie, if you have seen that portrait, that's kind of the style, the coloring style that I want to do with both of these portraits, because I did much more simplified kind of style. I may have given him sad eyes. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't quite look like him, but I think maybe it's because I need the hair. No, there's something wrong with the mouth area. The mouth is right in the rough sketch, but not in this one. I always do that dark little spot right there in the corner of the mouth. And the thing is, when I am doing like actually coloring it, I do tend to get rid of a lot of the line art, especially like the top and bottom lines for the lips. I will usually erase, but it's super important that I do have them in the right placement for whenever I do go into color, so that I know kind of like I know where to color and what shape to do them. This part curves a lot more. There we go. That feels better. And then that comes out more. There we go. Okay. There's also, you know, there are certain areas that I don't like connect the lines. So I don't connect this jawline area to anything, because whenever you look at the jaw, it kind of just, on like most faces, unless the lighting is really, really strong, distinct lighting, usually this jaw area, it kind of just, the way that the skin fits over the bone, once it gets to a certain point, it kind of just blends into the face and you don't actually see it connecting to anything specific. So keeping that part open really helps to keep the whole portrait feeling like more flowy, more open. Whereas if I were to like connect these two, there's just kind of something about it that now feels really closed in and almost, I don't know, it kind of feels like blocky and weird. So, all right, now something that I always draw on a separate layer, because no matter what, I always end up deleting this layer, is the hair. So for me, I like to just get a really rough outline of kind of the shape of the hair, where exactly it's gonna go, you know, height of it and everything. So he's got his kind of messy curls a little bit. Some areas it flips out a little more. And I prefer to do this on its own layer, because like I said, I never actually keep the hair line art. And also on this layer, I'm gonna go ahead and add in just a really rough, just like, you know, the rough sketch. I'm gonna add in kind of the shape of his facial hair, which I don't think, yeah, it stops there. And he has a little here. And then, because this is also an area that I do not keep the line art, so I'm just gonna have that on a separate thing. This part, I always do like a much thicker layer, because it's the body, it's the shoulders, and it's also like clothing, and so it's a lot more solid. Whereas the face, I like to really differentiate the line thickness, because the face has so many curves and angles and sharpness and roundness and thin skin and thick skin and delicate bone and hard, thick bone. And then this area, it's a lot, you know, to me, it's a lot more of a solid area. So then also keeping this area kind of just one thickness, whereas the face is like a variation, it kind of emphasizes the face more, because the face has the more detail, the more variation. So this kind of helps to just accentuate the face is the area that you really want to look at. I hope this is all making sense. I feel like a lot of the times we try to logic everything and have a reason for everything, and like, I do this because, or I do that because, when really, especially when it comes to something creative like making art and drawing and painting, there's not really always a because or a logical reason to doing something. Now, sometimes there is. In fact, a lot of times there is. But a lot of the times there's not. A lot of the times it's just because. I do it because it looks good. I do it because it works best that way, you know? So there's a lot of things that it's like, I can't really explain it other than it just looks good to do it that way, you know? Now the ear, I don't really want to put a whole lot of detail to it, because it's the ear and it's not about the ear, it's about the face. So I flipped it, so now I can kind of see where there's like, it's out of balance in certain areas. So right here, it just looks very, like this looks so much heavier. So I'm gonna try to bring this out and kind of help balance out the heaviness on both sides. And then I also kind of want it to line up better, so I'm gonna do that. And honestly, I am pretty sure I'm probably going to erase all of this and redo it once I actually have the jersey like colored in. So this part I'm not too worried about, because usually with the clothes I tend to not keep the original line art of it. That could probably be reworked. And there is my final sketch of Patrick Mahomes. Cool. Okay, yeah, I actually like that. All right. Oh, I give up. I tried to add in as many things as I could think of, but today was kind of like a catch-up day. It's after 5 o'clock, but I did get tomorrow's Vlogmas scheduled. If you would like to go watch the video, it will pop up right, I'm gonna guess here. If not, well, you'll see it anyway. And you can watch my full paint and chat with me, where I talk about all of my holiday favorites and I paint that winter watercolor girl painting thing that you saw in a previous Vlogmas. So definitely go watch that if you haven't seen it. And Jacob and I are going to spend the evening relaxing, getting all cuddled up and cozy, and watching a bunch of Christmas movies. I say a bunch, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we only got through one before we fell asleep, but we're both, I think, pretty tired. Especially me. Yeah. Jacob says that he doesn't listen to me, but he just responded to something that I said, even though my door is closed, so that's cool. What? Love you.
Look at the snow, it's Christmas, and there's our mistletoe.